A big hurdle in getting someone you love the help they need to overcome alcohol or drug addiction is getting them to admit they have a problem. Denial is a big part of the addiction issue. So how do you get a person with an addiction problem to realize they have a problem? Joining me with some advice is Ed O'Reilly with the Neil Kennedy Recovery Clinic in Dublin. Ed, it's so good to see you.
Good to see you, Gail.
It's so interesting when you know someone who has an addiction problem. Everyone around them knows it. It's obvious to them. Why isn't it ever obvious to the person who has the addiction issue?
Well, that's basically what the whole concept of denial is people oftentimes think of it as something I do to myself on purpose. It is not. It's an unconscious process that happens to me without my knowledge. Okay? And therefore, what that means is I will always be the last person to see it. It's like if someone, say, lives with me or knows me at all well, they will always see it before I do. Always. Now, I will say this isn't necessarily specific to addiction. Anybody who develops a chronic disease has a tendency to fall into denial about it, and it's never that bad, but the people who live with them usually see it.
It's interesting that it's always the person, too, who has an addiction. It's my understanding that they themselves think that I can get to the problem when I need it, except they just don't think they have a problem.
Precisely. Precisely. In the addiction treatment line of work, we refer to those as the yets, which is, well, I don't have a problem yet. Okay, I haven't done this yet.
No
okay?
DUIs yet.
No DUIs yet. You know, how can I have a problem because I haven't done this?
I still have my job.
Right. Yeah, and what happens, of course, is if you don't address the problem early, it always gets worse, and then the yets start happening.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. If you are close to someone who has an issue like this, Ed, and obviously that denial has to be very frustrating, what are some ways that people can help that person necessarily realize they have a problem and even go that step further to seek treatment with someone like you?
First of all, I would say, don't necessarily expect a warm reception.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
Because I don't think it's a problem. Mm-hmm. Okay, and so feel free, of course, to point out what you see. I mean, and try to be as non-judgmental as you can. Sometimes difficult. Mm-hmm. Okay, try to be non-accusatory. Okay, I see this happening. You know, I'm a little concerned about that. You know, could you do something about it? It is, in fact, a delicate balance between pointing things out and falling into the trap of nagging.
Yes.
Okay.
Especially if they're in denial and they don't want to hear it.
Precisely. I would say that if you pick a time in which, you know, it's a fairly quiet time, nobody's yelling and screaming, nobody's under the influence, and you can reasonably expect to be heard, and you make your case. Okay, I usually actually tell people there's a format for the statement. And the format is, when you do this, I feel this way. Mm. Okay.
So you relate it to yourself.
Right, and okay. Then a request is optional. Okay, as in I would like you to go see the doctor or whatever. But having said that, try to back off and see what happens. Otherwise, I mean, there's the joke. It's kind of like, how can you tell your spouse is talking? I hear this irritating buzz. Okay, people say, it's like, yes, you don't want to fall into that trap.
Right. And I know another worry for some of these folks is they've been hiding it well, or they think they have,
yes,
from coworkers or whatever. So they worry about people finding out that they really do have a problem.
Yes, what normally you find out is people know more about what's going on with you than you think.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
There's a wonderful scene in this movie, When a Man Loves a Woman, in which the wife is coming back from rehab and they're cleaning the house out. And he's finding all these empty bottles and throwing them away, and the little girl, who's like 5, I think, she's saying, no, no, Daddy, that's the wrong way to throw them out. You put the bottle in a paper bag first, then you throw it out.
Things that people see that you don't think.
Yeah, the 5-year-old knows.
This is some great advice, Ed, and I know people can turn to you at the Neil Kennedy Recovery Clinic for even more advice, and there's people out there that are reaching for help, so we appreciate you being here.
Thank you, Gail.
Thank you.